The morning sun stretched across the Texas plains, spilling golden light over miles of open land. The prairie wind carried the scent of sagebrush and wildflowers, and, in the distance, a hawk glided lazily across the pale blue sky. Along the dusty road leading toward Willow Creek, a young woman walked alone. Her name was Eleanor Price. Her one-screen dress was faded, her boots worn through, and her straw bonnet sagged from too many storms. She carried a single carpet bag and a heart full of ache. Eleanor had spent years working at a small-town orphanage, tending to abandoned babies and lost souls. But when lightning struck one summer night, fire consumed the old wooden building. She'd saved 2 children before the roof collapsed on her. Her hands bore long, silvery scars, and her left cheek had a burn mark shaped like a crescent moon. Since then, no one wanted to hire her. No family would keep her on as a governess. No household would trust her around their children. A woman with scars brings bad luck, one lady had whispered, so Eleanor walked. With nowhere to go, she followed the sun west, praying quietly. Her lips moved as she murmured, "Lord, if there is still a place for me, please, let me find it." The rhythmic clop of hooves broke her thoughts. She looked up to see a tall man on horseback approaching a cowboy. By the look of his worn hat, leather vest, and sun-bronzed skin, he slowed his horse as he neared her, his sharp blue eyes scanning her tired frame. "You all right, ma'am?" he asked, voice deep as thunder over the hills. "I'm fine, sir," Eleanor answered quickly, lowering her gaze. "Just traveling. You look like you've been walking a mighty long while." "I have." He nodded toward the small bundle tied across his saddle. "Ain't safe out here alone." Before she could reply, a tiny cry came from the bundle. A baby down the man's side and untied the blanket, revealing a little girl no more than 6 months old, cheeks flushed from the heat. He rocked her gently, his rough hands surprisingly tender. "She don't take her bottle no more," he muttered. "I've tried every way I know, but she just cries." Kellyanna's heart clenched. Poor little thing. He looked up at her, desperate. "You wouldn't happen to know anything about babies, would you?" A soft smile touched her lips. "I've cared for more than I can count, sir." "At the orphanage." He hesitated, studying her face. "The orphanage up in Carson. Heard that place burned down." Her eyes dropped. "Yes, I was there." Silence hung between them, filled only by the baby's faint whimpers. "I can nurse her," Eleanor said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. "I can help her feed." The cowboy blinked, clearly taken aback. Eleanor blushed deeply. "I lost a child of my own years ago, but I can still provide milk. If you'd allow me, I can help until she's stronger." The man's breath caught. "You'd do that? For strangers?" Eleanor lifted her chin. "No one wants me, sir, but I can nurse the baby." For a moment, he just stared at her, as if trying to decide whether to trust her. Then his expression softened. He dismounted, holding the baby out toward her. "Name's Cole Turner," he said quietly. "This here's my little girl, Emma." Eleanor took the baby gently, pressing her close. The child squirmed, then nestled against her shoulder with a content sigh. Within moments, Emma's cries faded to quiet whimpers. Cole watched, his throat tightening. "I ain't seen her that peaceful since her ma passed." Eleanor's eyes flicked up, sympathy filling them. "I'm sorry for your loss." Cole nodded, staring off toward the horizon. "She was a good woman. Died bringing Emma into the world. Since then, I've been trying to keep the ranch going, but I can't do both alone, okay?" Eleanor rocked the baby softly. "Then let me help." He hesitated only a moment, then gave a short nod. "All right, come with me." The Turner Ranch stood miles out of town, surrounded by fields of golden grass and grazing cattle. A white fence stretched across the hills, and the house, though sturdy, felt lonely. Silent Dot, Eleanor stepped inside and felt the weight of the place. Dust lay on the piano. The cradle sat unused in the corner. Every corner spoke of loss. She didn't ask questions. She simply went to work. She bathed the baby, scrubbed the kitchen, and baked cornbread for supper. Cole watched her from the doorway, unsure whether to thank her or apologize for letting her in. That night, after the baby finally slept, Eleanor sat by the fire, sewing a torn blanket. Cole poured 2 cups of coffee and handed her one. "You've been through a lot," he said quietly. "So have you," she replied. Cole gave a small smile. "Emma took to you faster than I've ever seen." Eleanor looked into the fire. Babies don't see scars. They see hearts. For the first time in months, Cole laughed a deep, genuine sound that startled even him. Days turned into weeks. Eleanor became part of the ranch. She rose before dawn, fed the chickens, helped in the barn, then cared for Emma through the day. Cole found himself watching her when she didn't notice her gentle patience, her soft laughter, the way sunlight caught in her brown hair. But not everyone in town was kind. One afternoon at the general store, Eleanor overheard 2 women whispering behind her back. "She's staying out there with that widower," one hissed. "No ring on her hand, but she's rocking his baby to sleep." Scarred face, shady past. "I wouldn't leave her alone with my husband," the other snickered. Eleanor turned away, cheeks burning. She left the store with tears in her eyes. That night, she stood by Emma's crib, watching her sleep. Cole walked in quietly. "Everything all right?" She nodded, forcing a smile. "Yes, sir. Just tired." But later, when the ranch was silent, Eleanor packed her small carpet bag. She left a note on the kitchen table. "Mr. Turner, thank you for letting me care for your daughter. She's a blessing. I'll be on my way before sunrise. Please tell her I loved her." At dawn, Cole found the note. His heart slammed against his chest. Without a word, he grabbed his coat, saddled his horse, and galloped down the road. He found her near the edge of the valley, walking along the same dusty trail where they'd first met. "Eleanor," he called, his voice echoing across the plains. She stopped, but didn't turn. He rode up beside her, jumped off his horse, and blocked her path. "Where do you think you're going?" Eleanor gripped her bag tightly. "It's better this way, sir. People are talking. I don't want to cause you or your daughter shame. Shame." Cole's eyes blazed. "You saved us. You saved her. Your neighbors don't see it that way," she whispered. "They see a scarred woman taking advantage of a lonely man." Cole took a deep breath, stepped closer, and said softly, "Let Em talk. They don't know what it's like to lose everything. They don't know what it's like to find peace again, be afraid to lose it." Eleanor's voice trembled. "You deserve someone better, Cole." He reached out and lifted her chin gently until her tear-filled eyes met his. "I don't want better. I want you." Her breath caught. "You brought light back into that house," he went on. "Emma laughs again. I laugh again. You made us a family, and I ain't letting you walk away from that." Tears rolled down Eleanor's cheeks. "But I'm not beautiful," he finished for her. "Eleanor, you're the most beautiful thing I've seen in years. Not because you ain't scarred, but because you survived what tried to break you." She broke down then, sobbing as Cole pulled her into his arms. He held her close, whispering against her hair, "You're wanted here. Always were." When they returned to the ranch, Emma squealed in delight at the sight of Eleanor. Cole cooked supper that night, humming softly while Eleanor laughed. For the first time in years, the house felt like home. As the weeks passed, their bond deepened. They worked side by side, branding cattle, mending fences, raising Emma together. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the fields orange, Cole came onto the porch carrying a small wooden box. Eleanor sat rocking Emma, humming a lullaby. "Ellie," he said, voice husky. She looked up. "Yes." He knelt before her, opening the box. Inside lay a silver ring, simple but shining. "I don't want you to be just Emma's nurse," he said quietly. "I want you to be her mother." and my wife." Eleanor gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "Cole, I know you think you ain't worthy," he said, "but you've already given me everything I ever wanted. A home, hope, love." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "You're sure?" He smiled, eyes warm as the evening sun. "I've never been sure of anything." Kali, barely able to speak. Yes, I'll marry you." He slipped the ring on her finger, then kissed her gently, a kiss that promised forever. Emma gurgled between them, and they both laughed through their tears. The wedding was small but perfect, under a wide Texas sky, surrounded by the whisper of wind through the grass. They said their vows. The preacher's voice carried softly across the plains, and when Cole kissed his bride, the ranch hands cheered. From that day forward, Eleanor Turner was never called unwanted again. She filled the house with warmth and laughter. She sang while she cooked, rocked her daughter to sleep by the fire, and watched her husband ride out across the hills each morning, always returning home with a smile meant only for her. And sometimes, when the sun rose over the prairie, Cole would find her standing on the porch, holding Emma, whispering to the wind, "I never thought I'd belong anywhere." He'd wrap his arms around her and whisper back, "You were always meant to be here, darling. You're wanted, always."